Well, welcome to our podcast with CityRise. And today we have Christi with Loving Houston. And as always, it's great to have our partners join with us. And so you can hear about how the Lord is using them in the greater Houston area. So Christi, tell us about yourself, your family, and then about Loving Houston.
Myself, well, in my family, I am a mother of four. Age ranges from 14 to 10. The 10-year-olds are twins. And my husband and I are pastoring at Southwest Church of the Nazarene. And then I also work for Loving Houston. So I have the two roles, plus the role as mom. so
that's about 8 roles. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, super. And Loving Houston has been a partner with CityRise for several years now.
Right.
And I know you guys kind of divide up territory. So where is your actual responsibility in this?
So yes, I'm new. Loving Houston's been around since 2013. I am the new member. I've been around since February. But my territory is the Lamar CISD and Stafford Municipal School District.
All right. So Loving Houston comes in and you meet with administrators of schools. What do you guys offer to these schools?
So we meet with churches and schools.
Right.
And what we do is we try to build that partnership for the social transformation to happen, for helping churches knowing how to reach out into their community. And for the schools, it's multiple different types of benefits. It could be benefits of teacher encouragement. It could be a benefit of knowing that somebody is praying over their school. It could be the benefit of volunteers coming in. It could be the benefit of supplies for the school itself or for the students.
All right. Well, a lot of listeners maybe think, wait, schools, they're off limits to churches. And that's not true. But how can a church first connect with you? Let's get that out there. And then what are examples of church-school partnerships?
So to connect with me or any of my people or any of our people for the greater Houston area is go to lovinghouston.net. And then that has the connection for each district representative. And we're in the process of getting a couple more, so keep checking. But examples are, there are churches that just pray for the schools. And I'm not saying just as if that's a small thing. Mm-hmm. The prayer for the schools is so needed, especially today. And when you watch the news and the way schools are being attacked and things that are happening in the schools need that prayer coverage. There are churches that will do just teacher appreciation like year round, not just in May, but they will do teacher encouragement notes because the teachers today go through a lot more than what they used to. I mean, students are not as mentally healthy, not that they're all messed up, but, and parents are not, and parents don't give the respect to teachers that used to be demanded. Sure. I mean, it used to be such a respected role. And now it's amazing at how parents talk to teachers. And so them to get an encouragement note reminding that what they are doing is a great thing. And then also snacks in the teacher's lounge or special meal once or twice a year. There are some also, one of the big things across the board we're looking at right now is mentoring. All our school districts are just seeing so much the need for mentoring. And so it's just going through, each school district has their mentor training. And it's not long and heavy or anything, but it's just to make sure you're ready for that school district. And then committing one day a week, like a half hour to an hour a week, going to school and meeting with that student and just having that commitment for 1 year. And then if it can go on to multiple years, and that is even more of a blessing to that student. But having students have an adult that's there to encourage them and tell them they can. They have seen some great turnaround with some of the problem students when there's somebody that does that. Other schools love people to help on drop-off time. All levels of school, the elementary, junior high, high school, having somebody just waving cars by, giving students high fives as they come into the school. it helps uplift students as they're walking into school. Who knows what's happened at the house that morning? And so that helps uplift them. Um, most schools could always use school supplies at the beginning of school. No matter what area, there's always a need for school supplies, and like back drives. But then also many churches, such as yourself, then help supply food for the students, like for the weekend, knowing that their main source of food is at school, the breakfast and lunches that our schools provide. And that when they go home for the weekend, they might not have much. So there are several school churches in the greater Houston community that will do like a weekend pack for the students. And so there's many different ways a church can plug in, depending on where their heart is and their resources.
Sure. So a church could contact you, but theoretically an individual could, to say, hey, I'm retired. I would love to mentor. And you could tell them, okay, these are schools right now, they're accepting mentors?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And an individual, like often the way we get into churches are through an individual that has a heart for this. And then, their pastor then gives them that free will or that go sign and say, yes, you are their ministry lead for our church school partnership.
Yeah.
And it often is an individual that has a heart for that.
Sure. Now, I didn't set that up this way, but this morning I actually dropped off snacks at 3 different schools where we have partnership, 1 Stafford, 2 Fort Bend. And it's just snacks for the teachers. We do it the first Thursday of every month. And it's amazing how a fairly small gesture and yet has opened doors for us to do other ministries on there. Well, in your few months here with Loving Houston, we'd love to hear a story, maybe something you've observed with an individual or a campus to say we have seen these positive impacts because of a partnership or mentoring program.
One school church that did a lunch help. They sent in people to help during lunchtime 1 day a week so that the teachers can have a break. Because I often don't think of that. I think of lunch break as the teachers get their own lunch break. But often the teachers have to go in the classroom, in the lunchroom and do control while they eat their lunch. And so this one church has started doing that on once a week. And at first it was challenging, but they just saw the school warm up to them so much more. And then they've been able to pray for on the side. Teachers say, hey, I'm going through this. And they are been able to pray for those teachers. And it's because they were there week after week and developing relationships.
Sure. Now, have you ever had schools say, hey, you can do this, but don't do this?
Oh, yeah. As a church, we come in very humbly to the school and we just say, we want to help you. What is a way that we can help you? Where do you need the help? Because we don't want somebody coming into our church and saying, hey, we want to do this. And same thing for them. So we just need to listen, and the school might come with a need that we're not able to help with. And we need to be humble and say, no, we can't do that. Or maybe we could adjust it and we could do this portion. And the same thing, this church might say, hey, we would love to do this. And the school say, that's not where our need is right now. They have the right to do that.
Sure.
But if we stay humble as God's servants and work where the need is.
Sure.
That's what social transformation is, working with the true need, not our observed need.
Right. Now, obviously, the schools aren't paying for this service. So how are you guys funded?
Well, Loving Houston is funded through private donations and foundations. And also on lovinghouston.net, you can check there on how to donate for Loving Houston. We're always happy to have any small little help or a foundation that just has a heart to see some social transformation in Houston area and want to help out. Yeah.
Well, one of the great things about CityRise as a network is we have partners who are specialists in mental health, in poverty alleviation, some of these issues that you guys will face on campuses. And it would be great to see them. And we even see that. I mentioned taking snacks. We have a partnership with Stafford Middle School. And so on Thursdays, we open during lunch, and about 100 kids will come in and get food and school supplies and personal items. And they actually started an after-school tutoring program this week, which Attack Poverty is running. And so
great.
it's Loving Houston introduced us. Attack Poverty is coming alongside, and we're hosting it. And again, we had 20 kids show up this week for the after-school program. So you guys are connectors, among other things. And so someone may contact you. They may not even know where the needs are.
Right.
But you guys can give them a menu of options.
Right. Yes, just like you, like networking is one of our main things, networking and connecting, helping get the right people connected together, and where all of our staff is constantly out listening and networking and trying to, doing exactly that, connecting different groups together. And we love hearing of churches and Attack Poverty and any other organization working together to really help the schools, because like we say, at the schools we see all different walks of life, and it be able to help the whole community.
Yeah. Now, do you guys, I don't want to use the word solicit, but y'all seek churches, or are you kind of waiting to hear from churches? How do you bridge that?
Yeah. I get in my car sometimes and go to churches and knock on the doors, see if anybody's there, get on the phone, call churches. So yeah, we're always trying to contact churches, because there's schools that need, we have schools that have not had a partnership yet. We're coming to the end of the school year, a new school year, and at least like in Lamar School District, there is new schools opening every year.
Right.
And so that means I need more that way. And then any ministry has its seasons. And so for one church, it might be time to end a season with a partnership, and now we need to find a new partner for that school. So we are always looking for churches that that want to put God's heart into the church at schools.
Sure. Now, if we have a lot of 501c3s, nonprofits, if a nonprofit said, "Hey, we're not a church, but we would love to come alongside this school," is that even an option?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
In fact, my predecessor of my role now works for the Lamar School District, and her job is also working with those other organizations and getting them connected with schools as well. And so our staff also knows the people in the school district to get connected that way as well.
Yeah. And again, you've mentioned several needs. Would you see a hierarchy or priority to say our greatest three needs would be churches to do this, this, and this?
Prayer.
Okay.
Is of course number one. As we said, that there's attacks coming in every direction right now. Mentors, because we just see so many students need that support of an adult in a steady adult in their life. And then probably teacher encouragement, that teachers have it rough right now.
Sure. Well, I appreciate Loving Houston because, again, you get on social media, you get on the news, and the secularization of everything. And it seems the schools are on the front line of the battlefield, that some in the church seem to say, we're going to wash our hands of them. They're going, whether it's gender or sexuality or whatever, instead of leaning in to say, hey, why don't we bring something positive to bear? And so I'm sure that's part of the message you guys give, because you're across the board. It's not one denomination or one
we
expression.
Work with all Bible-believing churches.
Yeah.
And exactly what you're saying, that, yes, we are going onto their property. And so we see what they allow. Like sometimes if we look through the Bible, also our Christian ancestry, of sometimes you serve silently and you don't always say God's name. You go through the book of Esther and God's name's not mentioned, but God is very present.
Right.
We're reminded, always be preaching, and sometimes use words.
Yeah.
So the way you spread God's love Sometimes it's silently, and sometimes you get opportunities where you can lead a Bible study. There, I actually forgot to mention that that most schools are very open to before school or after school Bible studies. Not all, but most, and some are very open to having their sports teams prayed over before a game. So there are opportunities to be very bold and speak God clearly. And then there's other times where it's that subtle servant love.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I had the joy to speak to the FCA a couple years ago before one of the football games, and there was total freedom in that setting. Well, great. Well, I always ask my guests if there's something I should have asked. What else would you want our listeners to hear about either connecting or special prayer requests, or kind of the future, what you anticipate with Loving Houston?
Well, the goal of Loving Houston is that every school has a church partner in the greater Houston area. And we haven't made that yet. So we still need more churches. And yes, pray over the schools. And even if you don't have a direct connection to school, as you drive past the school, pray over it. Yes, we definitely want the goal to be every school has a partnership. And we want that to be just also in the greater Houston area, just known that churches love their schools and love that. And that's one of the ways they show their love to their community.
Amen. And I could tell many stories, though we don't, quote, pray aloud for our students in our serve center there. It has happened more than once where students have come to us to say, would you pray with me? My mom is sick, or something like that. And of course, we just briefly bow and say a prayer blessing. And to see the joy there, it does make the ministry worthwhile. Well, we appreciate Loving Houston. Again, our partners are Loving Houston alongside of you guys, and just pray God's blessings upon you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for joining us with our CityRise podcast.